So Carla, you see the Social Institute, correct?
So the entire presentation.
Yep.
Excellent, thank you.
So do I have to navigate it from this now? Okay.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, okay.
slides.
I'm just gonna.
But can we change it back to the Zoom people for the moment?
Yep, you're on the left.
Okay.
For the moment.
Oh, yeah, they're at the little field on this.
Oh, you got it? Maybe that one. Can you make it big? Okay.
Of course.
But now does this mean they're gonna be staring at your screen while we're talking? Okay, all right. Okay, for those of you on Zoom, you're gonna be staring at Jennifer DeBenedetti's slide while we're working through business. So if you want to look at the agenda or whatever, you can pull that up separately online. And we're gonna go ahead and start recording at this point, so we can go ahead and get started with the meeting, if that's all right with everybody.
Stream is recorded over.
Oh, it's
Oh,
already.
it is? Okay, there you go. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you taking the time and joining us. We'll just do quick intros of the exec team. We'll jump into some business, and then we're gonna give the bulk of the time to Jennifer DeBenedetti to share a new program that's being implemented in the middle school. So I'm Kelly Voyages, and I am the president of the FA this year, and I've got a 10th grader here.
I'm Tanis, I'm the volunteer coordinator. I have a 6th and a 9th grader here. I'm Jill Jordan Spitz. I have a 10th, 11th grader, and I'm secretary.
I'm Margaret Cohen. I'm the treasurer this year and I have a 6th grader and a 9th grader.
I'm Josie Campbell. I'm the vice president and I'm the tenth.
So the first thing I'd like to do is just do a few thanks for folks. I'd like to thank our theater chair, Fernanda Martinez, who could not be here this morning, but she did a fantastic job of coordinating support and volunteers for the drama department's production of As You Like It last month. She said the play went off a hitch and all the parents provided wonderful contributions. So in addition, I would like to thank the families who brought food for the cast and crew and the treats at intermission and who volunteered for the box office and during intermission. We'd also like to thank our new staff appreciation coordinator. This is what we're calling you, Amanda. If you don't mind having that title. Chair on you, because we don't want to feel like you have too much on your shoulders just yet, so you're kind of easing your way in.
Thank you.
But Amanda is going to be working on the Stock the Lounge event that will be coming up next month. So, and then as you feel comfortable doing whatever you feel comfortable doing, we'll move that direction. Perfect. We'll jump into a little bit of business really quickly, and that is first and foremost approving the October minutes. So we have those in the link that was sent out with the Zoom link and the announcement of the meeting. So if folks have had a chance, I didn't print them out, I just didn't want to waste the paper. So if I could get a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Josie. How about a second? Rebecca, second? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're good on the minutes. Thank you. And next up, we have the treasurer's report. So I'll let Margaret speak to that.
Okay, so we have, I think now completed our homecoming finances. So if there's anyone that has something outstanding, please let me know today, right now. If you know of anything, I think we have collected everything and reimbursed folks or are in the process of reimbursing folks. Homecoming, as I mentioned at the last meeting, was really great from a financial point of view. We had anticipated spending about $10,000. We spent under $8,500. We took in about $7,600 in ticket sales, so we're right on target. As I mentioned a few times, homecoming is not a fundraiser, so we're really aiming through ticket sales and a little bit of our FA budget. We're aiming to just cover the costs of the event, and we were really right on with that. So that was a good start. We're looking ahead to a couple of other expenses at the end of the semester. We have farmers market coming up. That is not usually an event that we spend a lot of our FA funds on. As many of you know, it's really driven by folks who bring in donations, usually in kind, sometimes a little bit of cash. So we're in good shape for that if we do need to purchase any odds and ends. And then at the end of the semester, we have some appreciation events coming up, as Kelly just mentioned, Stock the Lounge, and we also do our sort of holiday gift cards, all of which are budgeted for and we're sort of right on track for. So.
All right. We want to share a little information about some upcoming activities as well as different committee updates. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Margaret and Jill to talk about the staff appreciation trees that are going up on campus very soon.
No, you just say something? Sure. Okay. So along with our sort of usual faculty appreciation or staff appreciation events, like Stock the Lounge and our holiday gift cards, we are doing a kind of love note appreciation where we will have kind of a display of a tree up, one in the theater lobby and one in the middle school office area. And we're going to invite members of the community, kids, parents, families, to write notes of appreciation to faculty, to staff, members of the Garberry community. We have a lot of these leaves. So if folks can write their message on the leaf, they could write something out and attach it to a leaf. We can do lots of things in terms of kind of the logistics, but the idea is to cover the trees with these leaves of appreciation that just really share sort of kind words and thankful words for all of our wonderful faculty and staff. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. We have some plans for talking to, maybe we'll go into advisories to kind of talk it up. Maybe our class reps can help push the idea. We have a few different kind of communications avenues, but yeah.
It will be, the one in the theater will be up during Friends and Family, so we're hoping that families can contribute to it as well.
And we'll make sure that there's a supply of leaves by each tree, as well as in Zeskin Hall, we'll put some sort of basket that you guys can access easily, and then we can have a place, if people want to just leave them there, we can hang them, or if they want to go hang them, we're still working on kind of the logistics of attaching. So, but we'll get that worked out, and then we'll have these for people to access around campus. All right, great. Sabrina, next up is Farmers Market, so I'll let Sabrina.
Yeah, so my name's Sabrina, I'm the co-chair of the Farmers Market, and my partner in crime couldn't be here today, but so I checked the signups last night. We've had a really good response already. A lot of the volunteer spots are full. We don't have anybody signed up for the 7 a.m. Tuesday spot yet, and I realize that that's not a popular time, but Michelle and I won't be able to pull it all together and set it up without some help. So, so I'm hoping we can get some people to sign up for that spot. I realize it's very early and chilly, but it's important. And then I just heard yesterday from a school family who has a local organic farm, and they are planning to make a big donation, including some things that are not on the food list. So that's awesome. So it's that kind of generosity that really makes this event.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I mean, I think that's it for us. I mean, monetary donations are always also welcome. I just wanted to put that out there because what we've done for the last couple of years is that we take those monetary donations on Monday evening and we go to World Market and we get a bunch of really wonderful things. World Market is a perfect place to get, whole assortment of different fabulous holiday gifts. So, if people are wondering what to do, I mean, they're not interested in going shopping or don't have the time, whatever, monetary donations are always welcome.
Right. And that sign up genius link was in the newsletter last week. It'll be in the newsletter again this week and next week. But if anybody can't find that and needs it, you can either contact Sabrina or reach out to the FA on our email and we'll make sure to send that to you.
How do we make cash donation or monetary donation?
Good point. That would be writing a check to the Gregory School, and I think on the memo line, correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, we're putting farmer's market, and you can turn that into Joyce at the front desk and Zesk at home.
And Joe, Kelly, I was also thinking that I might send an email maybe next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with a separate sort of,
Yes, please.
just a reminder and the link.
Sure, and so let's give the.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yes, yes, please do that. That's great. Thank you. All right, next we have performing arts, and I've already given Fernanda's report about last month's theater production. Next Friday, there's a group of students headed up to Phoenix with Ms. Bodden for the Thespian Festival. And then the upper school drama class is actually doing a one-act performance this Friday at 1 p.m. in the theater, if anybody is interested. And Maggie, I'm gonna hand it over to you to give any kind of update with regard to band and orchestra.
Band has a concert on the 13th and orchestra has a concert on the 14th.
Okay, so that's next week, isn't it? All right. Is that Wednesday and Thursday? Do I have that right? Okay, so next Wednesday and Thursday. Great. Thank you. Gina, our athletics committee chair, was not able to be here. And Angela, our coach E, just drove back late last night. So I'm gonna give a quick athletics report and I'm gonna read it direct from them. The girls volleyball team took second place at regionals and qualified for the state tournament with a record of 6-2 in conference and 12-6 overall. Yesterday, they drove 4 hours up to Beaver, Arizona, and lost in the first round of the state playoffs. The chess team made it to the state tournament, and Victor, I will apologize to anybody's name I may mispronounce, so forgive me. And Victor Badiev qualified for the individual chess state tournament at the end of November. Right. Cross country, swimming, and soccer finished with strong seasons. Cross country had a regional champion, Jackson Mayer. Swim has 2 swimmers that are competing this weekend at the state tournament, Reese Blair and Desiree Blute. And for middle school, girls volleyball and flag football both made it past the first round of the tournament and lost in the second round. It was a great season for all the fall sports, so thank you to all the players that competed and the spectators that cheered them on. Winter sports began this past Monday, November 4th. Our new sport, wrestling, has kicked off well, and the basketball teams have scrimmages as early as next week. So please check the Gregory School Athletics calendar and come cheer on your Hawks and show your school spirit. 2 last items from Coach E. TGS is hosting the Boyd Baker basketball tournament on November 25th through the 27th. She is looking for a parent to help to collect gate money in 2-hour shifts. She did give me the time, so we'll have to get that from her if you're interested. And to bring food for their hospitality room. So if anyone would like to help, the tournament starts at 8 a.m. each day and runs all day. Please let me know if anyone is interested in volunteering. So if you're interested in that, please either email Angela Earnhardt or you can email the FA and we will forward your information on to Coach E. And the last item was that Coach E has adjusted the time of the Hawk Walk and Talk on Wednesday mornings to 8 a.m. It was previously at 7:30, so she'd like to get more people to join. So she switched it to 8 a.m. to 8:25 a.m. And that's every Wednesday that there is school. I will email that to you. So
I was gonna say.
All right, are there any class reps here that want to share something?
So I'm Rebecca Son, I'm the class rep for the seniors. And this Friday, we're doing senior sunrise where we're gathering at like 6:15 with donuts and coffee and hot cocoa with blankets so they can all watch the sunrise together. So
Nice.
that is new, maybe a new tradition for the seniors. I don't know, they're excited. And then I have a winter formal update. Can I do that too?
Please.
So I'm the chairman of winter formal, so the upper school parents, we'd love to have you volunteer. We have had to move the date due to basketball. There's a basketball game that came up. So it is going to be February 1st, location to be. But now I can do a Valentine theme.
Yeah. Did that get changed in the calendar, Mary? Mary? Is that okay?
We just discovered, yes.
Yes, well, you know, what's funny is Angela had asked me when it was, and I told her she was meeting with people, and she mentioned the basketball game, and she said, is that set? And I said, it's on the calendar, I understand that Rebecca has you on there.
That's with Angela.
Yeah.
They want to get it.
But she may be different.
Okay.
That's fine, it's okay. It's on the calendar.
So we'll get that updated on our website too, because we have that date on there right now.
Yes.
All right. Are there any other class reps that want to share anything?
I don't want to share anything. I'm Amber Otto and I'm the seventh grade parent rep. And I would just like to say if there are any seventh grade parents that love planning events or that's something they'd like to do, if they would like to reach out to me, because I'd like to try to do something before we break. And then also I just have a million things on my plate. So it'd be great to have a little bit of support in that particular area. So if there's anybody who wants to get involved.
Okay, great, thank you.
And just as a reminder, all the classes have a modest amount of FA funds to use for those kinds of events, so spend that money.
Okay, thank you. Is there, if there's anybody online, do we have any class reps online that want to share? If there's anybody online who is a class rep that would like to share anything going on in their grade, please speak up. No, okay. All right. And last, we've got the parent discussion group that has just recently been getting launched. So I'll let Margaret talk about that since she's been organizing.
Yes, first, so some of you know that some parents have been interested in kind of putting together a group where parents can meet for topic discussions, sort of book club-ish stuff, things like that. And we had a planning meeting a few weeks back on Zoom, and we're gonna have our first in-person meeting on Monday, December 2nd, at 6 o'clock in this room. To kick us off, there's been a lot of, let me back up. One of the biggest things that people seem to be interested in talking about, reading about, thinking about are topics around social media, cell phones, sort of technology in general. And so to sort of kick us off, I have selected a couple of chapters from The Anxious Generation. Some of you may be familiar with the book. I have made a PDF of the chapters called What Parents Can Do Now and What Schools Can Do Now. So agree or disagree with him, I thought that those were kind of some good ideas to kind of kick us off in our discussion, and it seemed to be in line with what a lot of people had said that they were interested in. My thought was to put that PDF on the FA website, a link on the FA website that people could get to. I think that's fair use. If anyone is, I think since we're sort of doing an educational thing, it's fair use, but if anyone is more in the weeds on that, let me know. I will also make a couple of hard copies available, maybe through the FA mailbox in Zeskins, so we can have like a little ending library. But we'll send more information out on that, especially to the folks. We have a kind of email list of people who are specifically interested, who might not mind getting a few more emails about it. So if you want to be on that email list, you can let the FA email know, and I will add you. And just our plan is, as I said, to have our first in-person meeting, and as we kind of move forward, to kind of let the parent group sort of be its own thing. It's not really an FA activity per se. I've been sort of helping with the logistics to kind of get us started. So it sort of seems like it's been very connected to FA, but I think really it's, you know, kind of just a group of parents who want to spend some time around some topics together. So that's kind of where we're headed. Anything else that you want me to add, or?
What was it that you were saying, Mary, about the?
We're gonna check the fair use.
Okay. Okay, good, thank you, appreciate that.
Can I just ask a question? So Margaret, are you saying that you're gonna, I have the book, but I'm just saying, so is the idea that people would have access to those and then they're gonna get together and kind of talk?
Yeah, I thought that they were sort of a good jumping off point for the kinds of topics that people have said they want to discuss, because those chapters
Gotcha.
are
Okay.
kind of on exactly those topics,
Okay.
like cell phones in schools and what do you do at home and what are, you know, different people's ideas on things like that. So that can kind of get us started. And as I have also talked about in some other venues. I'm very eager for folks in the group to, bring a book, bring an article, bring a topic that is of interest to them that they want to sort of share and get people excited about. So I think that that's sort of the direction that we're headed in.
Are there any questions about anything that we've talked about so far? Okay, if anything comes up later, obviously, as always, email the FA and we'll be happy to get back to you. That was a great segue to our guest speaker this morning, who is the middle school division head, Jennifer DeBenedetti. And she's going to be talking about a new program that's being implemented in the middle school. And I will just hand it off to you, Jennifer.
Thank you. And I think I need some help to get the things on.
I'll just comment while you're getting that going that our next meeting, regular FA general meeting, will be in person also, and that is scheduled for February 5th, 2025. If you want to put that in your calendar now, please do so.
Great.
All right, all yours.
Thank you. And I think just looking at the time, we'll kind of do some bits and pieces of this as we go along, but I wanted to give you a little bit of sort of the whole sort of approach and how this came about. So basically last year, there was just a lot of feedback and conversation. Some of it I was looking for from students and parents. Some of it parents just reached out to me in the middle school, asking a lot of questions, and wanting to know more about what is our policy at middle school? Can we talk more about that? Also outside of that, just how do I talk to my kids about navigating their social media consumption, their screen time, how that affects them. Students were also sharing information with us. We heard a lot through Mrs. Hazen and Mr. Saul about just that fear of being left out, the stress and anxiety that comes along with being online or not being online, or who has a phone or who doesn't have a phone, and just all of these kinds of things. And one thing we're really learning from the research is that for students, their in-person social experience really isn't any separate in their mind from their online social presence. But at the same time, sort of those in-person skills and strategies that we talk about of how to navigate conflict and how to have conversation doesn't translate to their interactions online. So we really, I was feeling like there needs to be some more explicit more direct instruction for students to help support. How do we navigate this space? We have a lot of experience navigating social interactions in person, but not necessarily a lot of experience of how to do that online. And some of the things that happen can be far-reaching for students. Colleges are looking at what's your online presence, and so that can go back several years for students. So in any event, there were a variety of things that we were looking at, getting feedback on, and let's see, one of these is covered up just a little bit, but these are from When It's Social. So these are kind of their core values and their approach. So ranging from the positive approach, positive ways, and that's one thing that really stood out to me. I looked at a few different programs, some popular programs in independent schools. Wayfinder is one that you might have heard of. The Social Institute, is anyone familiar with the Social Institute? They do a lot of podcasts and articles that are really, actually they might be interesting for some of your reading. But they're geared at educating people. It's not about taking away. It's not about restricting. It's about learning, how do we engage positively? How do we manage our own selves? What's right for me might not be right for someone else online. And so figuring those out, this is a world that our kids are living in. It's only going to get more. So equipping them with the skills to be successful with that is really important. Another part that really stood out to me about the Social Institute is that all their lessons and activities are student-led. So they've been around with the Win It Social program since 2016, and they've continued to get parent feedback, student feedback, and teacher feedback on all of the lessons and activities that they do. So it's really relevant for kids. Most of the lessons have a little video clip, a little short clip of the student who's sharing their experience, a little story about themselves and how that relates to whatever the lesson topic might be for the day. So there are little points where, you know, there's that connection piece that students can make. It's also gamified, so there's that fun thing where, and you'll see, we'll demo a little section here in just a little bit. It's kind of like a Kahoot login type of thing. If you're familiar with Kahoot, they get a little passcode, and there's little game things that happen. So there is that appealing piece. And then another part that appealed to me is the data-driven insights. So student names are never collected. There's a number login that they use, but they do input feedback. There are little survey questions along the way about how they're feeling about their stress levels, which might be an interesting thing to look at leading up to finals or tests, if we can align those things together a little bit. There are questions about how they use social media, what their main platforms of social media are, so we can understand where are the areas that our students are really focusing online and what are they consuming online. So I think that would be helpful information for us to have as teachers and as parents to know, oh, here's where, you know, we fit in our community. And then there is a big family, we'll cut off over there, family and faculty piece, where there are a lot of resources. There's professional development for our teachers on different techniques that they can use in content areas. So a class like math that doesn't necessarily cover, you know, oh, here's how we navigate conflict and those kinds of conversations. There are little tools and little tricks that they can apply in their classes as well. And then family, you'll have access to some things they like to call huddles. There's kind of like a little sports metaphor that goes through the whole thing, where it's really about getting everybody on the team together and working together towards a common goal of just supporting our kids and empowering them to be healthy and safe online. And that's where you can find some resources maybe too to read as a group in your program there. So to me, when I look back at us, a lot of those things really aligned with us as a school. I felt like it's not about saying, no, you can't ever do this. It's about, how do we do this? How do we have a conversation around it? What are you experiencing? What do you have questions about? And what is your support system along the way? There are also opportunities to engage kids in really problem solving and using some of the tools. So for example, one of the extension activities at one point is kind of along the lines of developing like a page for your school and how you promote what you do at your school. So it gets the kids actually looking at us and our community and saying, what are the really positive things that we want to highlight and how can we showcase those to a larger audience, and using social media to do that. So I am going to try to go ahead and log us in, which, let's see, I think I can hit escape on this, and we'll do a little demo of what this looks like. So this would be me logging in as a teacher, and I would access our Win It Social, my Win It Social account. If you would like to join, you can join on your cell phones. So what you would do is just go to that winatsocial.com/join. And that'll bring you to the login page, and there's a code that you can use. So if you're at home, you're welcome to join it as well. And you can do that maybe on another tab on your screen if you'd like to. I'll give it a minute to see if anyone wants to try it.
Is that the TGS code? So
This
can use that later.
changes, this is a one-time code.
Okay, so they just go to the website. And
Yeah, so you would go to the website and it would pull up the code and you would join that class for that session. So this is a little demo session we'll try. Okay, we have one player joined.
But we do use that code then, right?
Right. Thank you. Yeah, so for this demo, that would be the code 311465.
Well, a little shout out to the anxious generation. And yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Connection, right?
I'm sorry, maybe I missed this right.
No, that's
Is this taught at
middle and high school, or you guys started it, or?
We're starting it in middle school this year, so we're piloting it in grades 5 through 8. And we're using our advisory time for that. What we'd like to see is how does this go? We want to get feedback from parents and families and everybody on what the thoughts are of how it's working for everyone. And then if we want to expand it, we thought, well, we maybe take it one grade level at a time. And look next year, maybe implement it in 9th grade, and then carry on up from there. All the lessons are scaffolded, they're developed to be appropriate, so the 5th grade lessons are unique to that age group. 6th grade lessons are really zeroed in on what are the things that are happening there. And then same thing in high school, 11th grade students are looking at, kind of some heavier topics at that point too, that they might have seen.
Is there any way, like, so I have this freshman, and I think if we do that, he will miss it.
Oh, going through, yeah.
Yeah, I just,
So that's good feedback.
yeah,
So
maybe to start, like, maybe even, because I think there's probably quite a few new freshmen, like, we've
There are.
So
Yeah.
maybe that would be,
Even this year?
oh, yeah, I mean, or I think it would be wonderful,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's good feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay, thank you. And what's your name? Sorry.
I'm sorry, Mariah
Okay.
Bryant, and I have a new freshman,
Okay.
Hamish.
Great, okay, wonderful. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and just get started, just so we won't be able to do the whole lesson, but you'll at least get a sense of a little bit of, well, there's always like music that goes along with it, but I don't know if we have volume in here. So we'll just go ahead and. Okay. I think, Andre, I can't quite access my scroll.
Can you move this?
Oh, you left.
I think you can move this far, move it somewhere.
Drag it.
There we go.
Oh, bring it to the top. Oh, there we go. Well, we skipped our little intro piece, but that's okay. And they'll just show sort of what are some trending, that was another point that I really liked about the Social Institute is they draw on current information. So there will be some information coming out about elections and navigating, results and how do you handle that? And how does that affect you, So there'll be lessons about that coming out in the next couple of weeks. So everything is really timely to what's happening in current events. And then that last new research up there, over 95% of teens access a smartphone regularly, and 76% of families worry about their child's overuse of tech. I think that highlights why we're here and why we're looking at a program like this to really think about what can we be doing, what do our students, what do our children need to help navigate this space. That went back. This is opposite from my touchpad. Sorry, okay. So we go through a series of sort of like little questions to get going, and this is the same thing that your students would experience. So these are like those little survey polling questions. Group chats, misinformation, online gaming, artificial intelligence. There's no question that tech has quickly become one of the greatest influences on students' health, happiness, and future success, whether or not they own a device of their own. According to a 2024 study, how many students say they feel anxious when they do not have their smartphone around? So this is checking to see,
For me.
And the teacher came in this morning and they were like, if you need to find me, don't text me. I forgot my phone. So there are timed elements to kind of keep a pace going, but as a teacher, as a facilitator, they can always be paused. So in advisory, where conversation might really get flowing, the advisor can always pause and say, let's keep talking, kids are really into this conversation, so we can keep that conversation going. But we'll just kind of let this one run as everyone fills in their answers.
So how do they do this in middle school if they don't have phones? Do they use?
They'll use their computers, yeah. So we'll be running it in class and we'll do that on computers. So let's see, 54% of those of you who responded thought that it was 63% of students would feel anxious. 44% of you, 46% of you thought 44% of students would feel anxious, and that is the correct answer. So almost half of our individuals with cell phones or smartphones are feeling anxious if they don't have their phone with them. And that's certainly reflective in the research where we're seeing that people feel this like attachment to their cell phone, to their device, and don't feel as though they can cope without it. So then the question is, okay, well, how do we navigate that? How do we manage that? What are skills? What are strategies? What's the approach that we want to have to support our students so that in the middle school, when we say your phone needs to be silenced and in your backpack, they can do that.
They get it from us.
And they what, I'm sorry?
They get it from us. I mean, I sat in a class, you know, because I'm a realtor and you can't, like during classes, you can't have your phone on you at all, like, because you're getting credit for it. And I mean, these are professionals, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70-year-old people. And they're like, somebody's monitoring you and they're calling you out for having your phone, and we know the rules and we're just so connected. So they see us being like, oh my God, where's my phone?
Yeah.
And they get that energy from us.
I think that's true, you know, we're role models, all of us, teachers, parents, and so what is it that we're modeling for our children and for our students? And what do we need to think about and do with that too? And I think having a support group, I was talking a lot actually last year with Sally Strebel. Gosh, she has a 5th grader and a 7th grader this year. And they're kind of a tech family and startup, and we were just talking about how do we as parents model that for our children also, and that's part of some of the resources that families get through the Social Institute as well. So hopefully that'll be helpful moving forward. So we'll go on to our next. And then there's usually a talking opportunity for students because we don't want them to just be on their phones going through, you know, on their laptop going through, how do we manage this? So there are these points where it's turn to each other and have a conversation. In the past year, Twitter turned into X. Google launched new AI tools, Facebook launched Threads, and a new app called Lemon8 appeared, which I still have not Googled. So if anyone familiar with that, let me know. So how do you define social media as you approach the 2024-2025 school year? So that's a talking point to have with each other. How do you define social media? What is social media? Do you have a definition of social media?
You mean to actually open this up to discussion?
Sure. We've got
Well, I would say, for its definition, where there needs to be interaction with others, right? So that maybe not just scrolling through images or videos, but where you get to maybe interact, kind of like Facebook or Instagram, which I find that very interesting how most children or kids communicate through these social apps through messaging. Like my children, they don't have any social media, and I have a 7th grader and a 9th grader, and that's been the top topic because they are left out. They can't interact with their friends because they will almost exclusively communicate in groups through social media apps. So I think that's basically that, you know, whether it's interacting on the posts or on the whatever it is that is shared, but also through messaging.
Yeah.
So these apps have these two variants or routes for people to interact. So for me, it would be that it has to have that social aspect of it where there can be interaction.
Right. Okay.
we're discussing in my house, I have a sixth grader, Clay, and he is very convinced that commenting on YouTube shorts and other things is not social media.
Yeah.
And I don't think I agree, so that's been a live debate about, if you're interacting with strangers about content that you'll never share in a personal way, are you on social media?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And within video games too.
Yeah, video game chats.
I've been told, they don't use Facebook. Like that's.
That's old
That's
school.
old. So it's TikTok, Snapchat's back again. And, Instagram, just direct messaging. Like they don't post anything or they do, you know, reels or sure, whatever. But yeah, it's so different. And it's like instant stuff that's gone. So that's what makes me nervous. Is like the stuff that's like not, you know, it's good that it's not out there anymore, but it's also like, oh God.
I think it's affecting kids' self-esteem. When I see college kids that get FOMO or they see, oh, this person has such a glamorous life, right? Because they're putting all the good stuff and they're like, I have nothing and I'm terrible and I don't look like that. And it's real. And so if it's affecting, well, adults and then college kids, it's gotta be affecting them.
I was gonna say I'm 48 and I stopped, I got off because it affects my self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because that's like, it's like my, like people say like Instagram or whatever, just say whatever it is, Instagram, whatever it is, Facebook for us old people. Yeah. Because Facebook was when we had the middle school play and also, right, was in the middle school play where they presented the social media and it was the brand. Instagram or any social media, it's like, it's your curated life, it's your highlight reels, right? So you don't even know that person might be miserable. They're showing us like, and then you're going, well, how come I don't feel that or have that or do that or whatever.
And then it
So,
contributes to depression, anxiety and all this.
yeah, it's hard.
Great, thanks. Wonderful. So great discussion. Thank you for contributing. And so we would just continue that a little bit to skim for some of the list, and this is as parents, you know, this is the information for you. These are some of the benefits that hashtag When It's Social unlocks for students and families. So if we take a look at those and think about which ones maybe matter the most to you, why do you think that stands out to you? Is there something different that's not on this list that you would hope is something that we could gain from a partnership with When It's Social through this programming? So one of them says, help students navigate the digital world in healthy, high character ways, whether or not they use social media or have a device of their own. Keep parents up to date on the latest trends and topics students care about, including games and apps. Empower families to huddle at home about using tech for good. So huddle is kind of their word for, you know, have a conversation at home and dialogue there. So I don't know if any of those stand out to you, if there was something else you were thinking, this is what I would really like if we're learning about social media and social connections online, what would be at the forefront of your minds that you'd want it to have?
I think that first one is huge, right? Because for the kids, they need help figuring out how to navigate not just reacting on social media, and to understand that once those words come out of your mouth or onto the keyboard, they're out there and you cannot take them back.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge piece, especially for younger kids who don't have that, you know, frontal lobe development that gives them the understanding and the sort of the critical thinking and let's think through this process.
Yeah, like no social media till they're 25.
The kids who aren't on social media, is this gonna make them want to be on it even more when they're talking about it every day in school now?
That's an interesting question.
Well, I think they're gonna want it no matter what, but you know, they might not, they're talking about it amongst each other, whether or not the teachers or parent is involved in the conversation, I think, personally.
And it's hard to not give your kid a phone when everyone else has one. Cause they're like, oh, like,
You're the bad guy.
yeah, why do I not one? Everyone's talking and chatting after school or deciding what color shirt they're gonna wear to their basketball game, and I don't get to do that,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, one of the things I was talking about with some parents last year also is helping to support each other as parents. So when a child comes home and says, well, everyone has it, you can be like, does everyone have a cell phone?
Yeah.
And maybe parents are like, no, my child doesn't have a phone, my child doesn't, my child doesn't. And then it starts to turn out, well, maybe it's not everyone has. It's half of them. Yeah, it's half of them.
Or at least not social media, I think that's a huge difference. I mean,
Yeah.
especially kids who have like, parents who are divorced, like they have cell phones from much younger ages because they need to be able to reach both
Or
their parents.
watchers too.
Yeah, or like, soccer gets canceled, whatever. I mean, we just do no social media for middle school, but we do have a phone, which was a hard decision, but I feel like there are a lot of people who are on that page, and they can, for us, our son can text friends, but he doesn't do social media. And I think there are a lot of people who are in that.
Or we need to talk about as parents, how they work around it. Oh, like teenagers have the app to like show that there's no app and then shut off their location. This is real.
Yes.
And I'm like, it is real. And my mind is blown. Yeah, well, just down.
Yeah, they're so
hard, and I'm like, it's harness that into good.
Yeah.
Instead of like, it would be so.
Yeah.
And what I find very challenging, as I said, no social media for our children, middle and upper school, is what you were mentioning, how do we help them self-control, but I don't know that they even can, if what you were saying, we as adults, we can't, and that's all this research that shows how it impacts their self-esteem. So like in our case, and we have been very hard about it, it's like, no, because I'd rather you be angry and maybe traumatized because you didn't have it, than all the consequences that we are barely even getting to understand what's happening to their brains, to their emotions, to their psyche. So it's such a tough one. And then for many people, it's just like, oh, they do everything, they watch everything, they stay up until very late scrolling. And my kids, I know for a fact that they feel completely left out, not just out of the conversation, but just kind of out of the world that their classmates and peers are living in.
And I don't know, we moved from North Carolina, we're part of a charter school there, this was something that we got, the school purchased it, and then we as parents had access to it, it's called Bark.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it monitors it monitors all sorts of things for cyberbullying, or pornography, you could manage their times, when they're on. I don't know if that's something that, like, we could get here as the school and then allow, and they used it to monitor, to like the in-school emails and communications, but then we as parents.
Yeah, like our own as well, and friends who have.
Yeah, we still have it, even after we left the school, but Bark, BAR, there's a Bark box, which is for dogs, so don't do that.
We've got a comment from someone online.
Carla stated, I think it's also important to point out that it's not just about what is posted on social media publicly, but also the expectation of respect and privacy when you're emailing, texting, sharing with friends, one-on-one in a group.
Yeah, and so that kind of stuff and I was just looking at the website, it's got things on there where you can see even hidden things, or it allows you, like, your child maybe doesn't even have to know that you have it as well, if you want to.
That's interesting, I haven't heard of the school who provided that for us, so that's worth,
It was great, I couldn't, in my quick view, I couldn't see how they got it, but that's how we found out about it, and I was like, and it helped, like I said, it helped within the school, just to make sure there was no.
thanks.
Lokiness, but no, we appreciate it as parents.
Yeah.
So one of the things I think about a lot is like, they're trying so hard in middle school to figure out who they are, where they belong, who their friends are. And I think there would be a really rich topic, the discussion to be had around sort of like inclusion and exclusion and being left out. Like the number of 6th grade group chats is staggering, right? And there's like, people are invited to a group chat, then they're kicked off a group chat, and I feel like it must be really hard to manage.
I just take mine off of the group chat.
Yeah, and so, and then there's the language.
Which I think is what Carla was commenting on also, and that's what we see in middle school, kind of that 5th and 6th grade level, especially where, you know, they're under the age limit on a lot of the social media kinds of things. So they do engage on group chats through text messaging, and that is, I think that speaks to your kind of point about social media. It's like if you're interacting socially, and so for our youngest students, that is text messaging and group chats and that sort of thing. So I think that is social media, you know, by that definition, and you're right, what is that, you know, responsibility about that? There are behavior expectations, and I'm thinking of our 5th graders, it's these little people on campus, and they're just adorable and precious about how they all interact with each other, you know, playing in person down there. But somehow that's lost, you know, when they go into a chat, and there's a different, there is a difference, and that's the piece that I'm hoping, you know, we can fill and navigate that of how do you take these wonderful behaviors and interactions that you're having in person and make sure those are mirrored and reflected in the way you chat or in text. We are a little bit short on time, so I think we'll go ahead and just pause there, but maybe that gives you just a little bit of a sense at least of like the flow of how a lesson would go. And I want to just.
And this is gonna start when?
So I asked teachers, middle school advisors to start, there's a kickoff lesson in October. So we have about half of our advisories in middle school have completed that kickoff. And the others are kind of working on wrapping that up this week. The lessons take anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour, depending on how in-depth you want to go to conversation, or if you want to do any of the extension activities. So at a minimum in advisory, they're doing one lesson a month. So there was an October lesson to do, there'll be a November lesson that's coming up. And actually that's a good segue here into our next, and wanted to go to next. Let's just go back to this.
Ms. DeBenedetti,
Yes.
could you say again how you were launching it?
So we're starting in middle school, grades 5 through 8 in their advisories. And what they're doing in their advisories is just doing one lesson each month. So we have a little bit of a calendar where we've identified what lessons we'd like to do each month, what those topics are. So I can share that out with families too, so you know what's coming up. And then what you can also expect to get from advisors is then an email once a month. Here's what we've covered in advisory this week, here were the talking, or this month, here are the talking points that you could have with your child at home. There are additional talking points that you can find if you log in. You will get an account that I'll give you some information about here today, that will help you access additional podcasts and articles, resources as parents, talking points to have with your child. There's also a lot of like hardware type of conversation if you're wanting to know about settings and those kinds of things that you can set up at home. So just kind of useful tools and strategies that you have as parents. So I think the goals for this year are really just to get some feedback from everybody who's part of this and see, you know, is this really something that's hitting our needs, what we're hoping for this year? Leading with our children, the number one thing that I'd like to have is just strategies for them to feel like they can navigate these different spaces online in a way that aligns with their family, you know, your values as parents, what we're wanting, expecting from our students as residents of the Gregory School community, and making sure we're all, you know, we are who we are online and in person, and we're also protecting our own online reputations as we grow up over the years here. So increasing some student awareness of their social media use, what's their consumption, how is it making them feel, how are they doing with that, and their online presence. And then it'd be great to have some ongoing conversations with parents, and I'm hoping to use maybe your reading group as a little bit of an avenue for that also, of what is it what is it that we're seeing our students need, or what is it that you as parents would find helpful? So for you as a family, and I have some hard copies of this is how you would access your account that you'll have to be able to get to different, like I said, articles, podcasts, things like that. We have a unique school code that.
Can upper school parents do this too?
So this is only for middle school parents right now, but I think also through that venue of maybe if there's some articles that look like they'd be useful and relevant for everyone to be reading, you know, we can still do that through your reading club, your book club, whatever it is.
We need a name.
That's your first meeting. And so you'll have we have a school code that you would just then plug in the first time you sign in, and then you'll have access to all of that. Moving forward. And that's all I have for you today, and it's 9:34, so that wasn't too bad.
No, we started late. We did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you, because it's uncharted territory. I think we all feel a little bit lost, and I'm sure we're all trying to do our best as parents, but it's so difficult to nail it, and our kids are never happy. So thank you.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank you. And anybody, obviously, if you have questions, you can follow up with Jennifer by email, I assume.
Yeah, email, phone call, whatever works best for you. Thanks.
Do we have a question over there?
I found.
Answer Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very helpful, and I know with the upper school parents that they won't be able to access this, but hopefully with some of those resources, they'll be able to be shared, and then some of that information will cross over into the upper school families as well.
There was just a big research study that came out. It was through the US government, I don't remember exactly who did it, but it recommended no phones until 9th grade, no social until 10th.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. And, oh, yes, Kirsten?
Update on the head of school search?
There is not an update on the head of school search.
Can you restate what the last update?
We considered the search committee made a recommendation to the board, and the board made a decision about who they want to offer. And add them in, and that's where it is.
Yes, thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
What was it?
We recommended.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
Yes, we can't really comment on that, but yes, the committee did make the recommendation. And it's in the board's hands essentially.
And I just can't say if the person that the committee recommended is the person that the offer.
Say this, that when everything is finalized. It'll be notified. And then we'll be all happy because it'll be resolved, but at this point, we don't have anything further to share, unfortunately.
And is there a timeline?
I don't think official time is more like any moment now, hopefully soon, unfortunately, I don't think there's any kind of official timeline, so. And yeah, we had certainly hoped to be able to report something or have somebody report something today, but we're just not at that point, so.
I'm sorry, did you say a job offer's been extended or not? yet?
No, we didn't say that.
Okay.
So we can say the search committee made a recommendation to the board, but then didn't you say the board has made an offer?
To the board.
The board has.
All right.
To me, it's a very safe state.
It's a board table.
Yes.
Even without. They do what they can share.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And thank you all for coming again. Hope to see you in February. Have a great day. I don't either. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I'll take it over.